Okay, so here's how we do the problem. First of all, we have to figure out step one, and you use this. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. This is called the order of operations. These are the symbols here, and your multiplication and division may change as you get a little older or a different grade. But this is what it means. And so you go through and say, which one do I have first? And that's how you decide which one it is. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So you have parentheses in there. So that's where you start. So then that's your step two. That's where your focus is. Make sure that you write it neatly. Make sure your decimals are lined up. And I color coded this so you can see your ones, tenths, hundreds, and thousands place. So we talked about regrouping. If you don't know how to do that, let me know and I'll work with you on that. So here are little notes. So you regroup the thousands place and remember to reduce the hundreds place and subtract like normal. So to the thousands place, you just add a 10 to 7. So that makes it 17. And then you reduce the next column by 1. So 5 minus 1 is 4. So then you subtract. And here you have to kind of start that process again because you can't take 8 away from 3. So you have to regroup again. So you add 10 to that 3 and then subtract 1 from that 4. And you do that. You make sure that your decimal is lined up and you bring it down. So make sure that it's neat and make sure that you bring your decimal down. So then we're going to scoot over here and then you kind of start the process over. Now that you've done the subtraction and you did what was in the parentheses, you just kind of rewrite the problem. So then you write 4 minus 1.548. And then you kind of use the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally again. We already checked for parentheses, so there's nothing to solve in the parentheses. It's just a number that we put back in there because that's where we solve. So it's kind of a mental note to ourselves. We don't have any exponents, no multiplication, no division, no addition, and we have subtraction. So that's what we do. You're going to have to make this 4. It's already a whole number, but the other one has decimals. So you need like a space saver. So we just put zeros in that place. It doesn't change the number. It just gives us the space we need to be able to subtract. So again, I have it color coded and you can always go back to these notes as to what we're doing here. So a little tip that I have is that when you have to have all these zeros, sometimes borrowing becomes kind of confusing. So what is easier to understand is that you take the whole number, you subtract it by 1, and you take the very last 0, and that becomes a 10, and then all zeros in between become a 9, theoretically. So you subtract that, 10 minus 8, 2, 9 minus 4 is 5, 9 minus 5 is 4. Make sure that your decimal is brought down, and then 3 minus 1 is 2. So that should help you as you move forward when you have a bunch of zeros. And then simplify per the teacher that I talked to, said it just means the answer. And so this is your answer, which we have up here. But you have to make sure that you show your work. So you show your step when you did the parentheses. And then you show the next step when you subtract the other number. And then your answer. So you make sure you do that. So I hope that's helpful. And I love you. Talk to you later. Bye.